Hi, this is Zach from Mercury Works. Today I'm going to give you a very brief demo of the Magazin 70, which is the 70 millimeter back for the Rolleiflex 6000 camera system. The Rolleiflex 6000 system includes the 6006, which is what I'll be demoing today, also the 6008, a number of other special versions, 6003, etc. But they all work with the most advanced back that Rollei has ever made, and the most advanced 70 millimeter back for any camera system was the Magazin 70. This is a fully motorized, automatic 70 millimeter back. It is a true marvel of engineering. Now, this back is actually a heavily modified Mamiya RB67 Pro S 70 millimeter back. And Rollei completely re-engineered this back to fit their 6000 system as well as run motorized and to change it from a 6x7 back to a 6x6 back, which is the format of this system. So much of the guts come from Mamiya, even though they've been re-engineered. This is what the back looks like. You'll actually notice it looks a lot like a Mamiya back from this side, but you'll notice that of course it has the Rolleiflex 6000 mount. It has this strange thing protruding from the top. It has instead of a lever, no advanced lever on this, and it says Magazin 70 on it. Has a dark slide coming out in a much different place. Has an LED light here, and of course the Rollei mount. So this is a standard 120 back on the camera, and if we remove that, the 70 millimeter back will mount in exactly the same way. But first I'll show you the guts of this. So if we open this up, this is what you do if you're going to load or unload film. I have already film loaded in here, but I'll just show it to you. So you have two standard 70 millimeter cassettes. Film is wound around, loaded like that, and this can hold any standard 70 millimeter cassette up to 15 feet of film. And it loads on the camera like this. Just line the bottom and it snaps on like that. The Rolleiflex 6000 is pretty much the most advanced 6x6 camera ever made. Once you snap it in place though, unlike the 120 back, you have this little cable, and the cable connects directly to the expansion port on the camera. And this is a remarkable system that they built into the 6000 series cameras that enable for its most basic a remote control, but actually they built in all kinds of other input-output interface here in this port, which enables for basically this back to work. And all you do is plug it in there, and at that point you will actually notice a red light on the back, which is basically telling you that the back is not ready to shoot. In other words, it's just been loaded. It's at its start position, S, here, rather than on, which is an exposed part of the loading frame. Now that's because I took the back off, even though I was mid-roll on my dummy roll here, it thinks I'm at the beginning of a roll because I opened the back. Now that I closed it up again, it knows that we are not ready to shoot. That's why that red light is on. And what needs to happen is we need to advance, actually, to the first frame. To do that, we're going to pull the dark slide. And what's remarkable here is that this back is fully motorized. With a standard 120 back, there's gears that engage, and of course the camera is fully motorized and will automatically advance the film to the next frame by turning the gears in the back. But for the 70 millimeter back, it does not engage any of those gears. What it does is the back itself is motorized, and the camera just sends the proper signals at the proper time for the back to actually advance itself. And that makes for a much more robust and very, very fast system, as we'll see. So once you've loaded this up and connected it, you need to actually advance it until you get to your first frame. And to do that, you turn the camera on. You can set it to whatever you want. You technically can take exposures here, except that there won't be anything to expose because the film has already been exposed to light, presumably because it's the very beginning. This is your leader that has been exposed to light. And now you need to advance until you're at your first frame that has not yet been exposed through the loading. And to do that, you just advance. And you're going to keep advancing until you're at frame 1. So it's going to be 3 frames, actually. Now you'll notice we are on frame 1, which means we are ready to expose our first shot. Shooting with the 70 millimeter back is a breeze. It operates just like any other back. You can shoot it normally. If you want to use a remote control, because the back has taken up the input-output socket, it duplicates that on the back itself, and so you can still plug in a remote control. We can also put it on continuous to see how fast it can shoot. When it runs out of film, it detects that and the red light lights up and you hear it wind for that extra period of time. In order to see what's happening, I'm actually going to detach the back from the camera and show you the film as it advances. Because this back has its own electronics, its own motorized system, and it's just receiving input and output, it's just communicating with the camera, almost as if it were a digital back in more contemporary terms. Because of that, you can actually operate it off of the camera because it's not using a mechanical interlock, it's just using electronic communication. So it's interesting, you can actually see it operating as you expose a frame. If you can see that happening, it's very quickly and very precisely advancing exactly 1 frame after every shot. That's basically what it's doing. This enables the very rapid exposure, very rapid shooting that it's capable of. Like any other 70 millimeter back, you can load as much or as little as a film as you want on a cassette, And of course, you can cut it mid-roll to develop it at any time. You don't never have to finish the roll. So this is the most advanced 70 millimeter back ever made for pretty much the most advanced 6x6 camera system ever made. Finally, you can modify this back to accept 65 millimeter film, just like you can any other 70 millimeter back or camera. And when you do that, you can actually shoot 65 millimeter Kodak motion picture film in this back with all the same advantages that this back and camera already offer. To do that, you just need to follow the Mercury Works instructions for the Mamiya 6x7 70 millimeter back, because the mechanism is exactly the same. So once you've altered the back, you can actually, if you're willing to do that to such an expensive back, you can actually shoot 65 millimeter film as released by Mercury Works, made by Kodak, the same as IMAX film, as well as the old 70 millimeter films. So this is fully capable of shooting fresh, modern 65 millimeter film as well as 70. Once you've done that modification, you can shoot any type of film, 65 millimeter, 70, any type of perforation, perforated, non-perforated, etc. So it's truly, truly a remarkable back.